All right. Well, Kufar, Akbar, everybody, welcome to a Sunday edition of the Cross and the Crescent discussion group. This is a show that is dedicated to rightly dividing the truth between Christianity and Islam. Welcome all. I see the chat. We got Dragon there in chat, and Paul's here in the studio, and I also posted the StreamYard link if anybody in chat is interested in coming up to the show, unless you're a troll. And the trolls, I'll just leave you in the back, or I'll delete you, one of the two. Okay, so today's show is about Islam's treatment of women. You notice how I'm going right to the topic because I've been scolded. Scolded's not a good word. Told that I need to quit taking so long to get to the topic. So we are going right to the topic today. And today we're going to be talking about several things. Let me bring up the list here. I forgot to bring up the list, of course. Another rookie mistake in my 7th year of doing this show. Let me bring this over here, bring this here, punch this here. What the heck? This is not working. Share screen, window, bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Okay, so here's what we're talking about today for everybody here. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about Allah's treatment of women. We're going to cover what how Allah thinks women should be treated. Then we're going to look at how Islam treats women, and then we're going to look at how the Sharia sanctions the treatment of women. And then I have an interview that we're going to play and go through with the wife, one of the wives of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, and what she thought of Islam's treatment of women. And then we'll go to a little bit of what they're doing in Europe. And we'll talk about some more Islamic hatred. But what I want to start with is a good picture of how women are treated in Islam. And I'm going to warn you, this is graphic. And if you have a weak stomach, and when I say graphic, I hate. I mean, I've watched this one time its entirety and said, okay, we're going to play it on the show. And then when I was looking to bring it up for the show, I can't watch. I mean, it's difficult to watch. So here is Islam's treatment of women.
It's too much.
Yeah, it's just what is happening here is luckily it wasn't an honor killing, but this was one of these where evidently this man who got off the motorcycle or little bike or whatever the heck he was riding there was the dad, and the brothers are beating on the sister here, and they're wanting to beat her to death.
Ultimate truth don't let me catch up with you, bro.
Who's that? What'd you say, Ed?
Yeah, he knows who he is. Don't worry.
Okay. But anyway, after watching something like that, you're thinking, okay, so who in the world would do that to another human being? And then on top of that, who would do that to their own sister or their own daughter? I mean, what type of offense can somebody commit that would drive you to want to beat somebody about the head and the shoulders, like they were doing to this girl, it just boggles your mind. What type of hatred do you have to hold in your heart in order to do something like that?
It has to be ingrained. It has to be taught.
Taught
Because
from
yes, it has to be taught because this is not. I mean, God already told us that He wrote His law on our hearts. So this has to be learned. This has to be taught.
Taught at an early age, and we've been spending an incredible amount of time the last couple of weeks on the Gaza, the people from Gaza and their attacks on Israel, and how they have been taught from such an early age to hate Jews, to want to go and cut the throat of a Jew is their ultimate goal in life. Is I want to grow up to kill a Jew, whether it's running them over or cutting their throat or whatever. This is what they're also doing to their children. Now, what type of religion? And and here's what we get confused about with here in the West is we associate religion with Christianity, where you learn the golden rule, and the golden rule is love your neighbor as yourself. Treat those as you would treat others as you yourself would want to be treated. And when we see things like this, it completely insults our senses of what is right and what is wrong according to what a religious practice would be.
Jesus Christ straight up said in His own words, it would be better for Him if a millstone were hung around His neck, and if He were thrown into the sea, that He should offend one of the little ones.
Right, yeah, exactly. And when you treat your child like this, and she looked, I don't know, 17, 8, I don't know how old the lady was. I wasn't able to get that, but it just makes your stomach churn. But the beating of women, as much as it would, you have our detractors of this show have come out and said that every day in Islam is Mother's Day. And another one has come out and said, well, my specialty is defending women in Islam, or defending the treatment of women in Islam, and say how well Islam treats women. Okay, we're going to go your way. Let's take a look and see what and a family therapist. This next video I have is from a family therapist. Excuse me. From Saudi Arabia. And what he's doing is he's going to explain, well, I'll let you, I don't want to spoil alert, but this is a family therapist from Saudi Arabia. It sounds like a joke. You're sitting in a bar and in walks a family therapist from Saudi Arabia. Okay, but it's not a joke. This is 100% real here. Let's go.
من خلال هذا اللقاء الذي هو بعنوان ضرب الزوجات. بد قبل ذلك أيضا أن توجد أسبابه الشرعية. الضرب لا يكون بمثل العصا هذا. Okay, so when you beat your wife, you don't hit her with the stick like this. ولا بالعقاب كما يفعل بعض الأزواج، ولا كذلك أيضا في بعض الأدوات الحادة التي يفعلها بعض الأزواج مع الأسف، كما يقول ابن عباس لما سئل عن الضرب قال يضربها بمثل السواك أو المنديل. لأن
handkerchief. What?
المقصود فقط إشعار الزوجة أنها أخطأت في حق زوجها. بعض الزوجات تحب أو تريد أنها تعيش معيشة. Okay. Unfortunately, look at what he's saying here. Unfortunately, some wives want to live a life of equality with their husband. How dare them? How dare they want to live a life of equality? مع زوجها بمعنى عيشة الضد، كما أنك فأنا لي، وكما أنك تفعل فأنا أفعل، كما أنك تقول أنا أقول. وهذه مشكلة خطيرة جدا.
Wait, I'm confused. I didn't realize there was woods in Saudi Arabia.
It's there. I don't know where they got that. That must be some type of background or something. I'm not sure where that came from. But that is, well, I mean, come to think about it, there isn't any. It's one big desert.
Exactly.
Hold on. Even in the mountainous areas, there may, but not that type of. This is, I don't know.
No, where he's not in Saudi. Wherever he is, he's not in Saudi.
Okay, Saudi Arabian. Let me look at the thing here. This is posted by the New York Post, so that it is a newspaper source. So you would think that it's not. This is not a parody.
Yeah, if you go to Google Earth and actually look in Saudi, you'll see all the crop circles where they have to irrigate everything.
Yeah, and I was just trying to think. Even in the regions of altitude, would they have the ability to grow trees, or would trees grow naturally like that? But even then, it's not. You're not going to get enough. You're not going to have enough rich soil, number one, but more importantly, you're not getting enough rain at all.
Well, the desert is already high, as it is, and that's why it is the desert, because it's high. The elevation is high. So,
All right, we're going to move along here. Here's what I want to do right now. I want to go ahead and just present we'll go through 10 slides. So bear with me. I'm going to go through 10 slides as fast as I possibly can. I know a lot of I hate slides, Kafir. But I want to make sure we understand that this is not just me saying this or anybody else on the show. Excuse me. Saying this. Thank you. This is coming directly from the Allah of Islam, and straight from the pie hole of that self-proclaimed prophet of Islam, according to their belief system. I don't believe the hadith any farther than I could burn them. However, they do. All right, so let's look at the. Wait a second. I don't think this. Did we talk about 65.4 last week? Hold on. PowerPoint. Where are we? Present. Yeah, we did talk about 65.4 last week. I think I just left that one on there because it's such a disgusting verse on how to treat young girls. Just to remind. Anyway, this is the Quran, chapter 4, verse 34. Men are the maintainers of women. Men are the maintainers of women. Men are the maintainers of women. So women, you are to be maintained by men. Because Allah has made some of them to excel others, and because they men spend their money or spend out of their property. So men spend out of their property to maintain women. So women, the good women, are therefore obedient. Because men are the maintainers of women and they spend out of their property, women are to be obedient to men. Guarding the unseen as Allah is guarded, and as those who have fear. And as to those who good night, come on. And as to those on whose part you fear desertion or disobedience, you fear disobedience is what the most popular versions say. You admonish them, and that makes sense. You admonish them. Don't be disobedient to me, especially because Allah is telling you that you have to be obedient. Or you can leave them alone, sleeping in places. So you're going to sleep on the couch, lady. Not the husband sleep on the couch. The woman, you get your Botox out on that couch. And if that doesn't work, you beat them. This is the Allah of the universe. This is the creator of the universe. This is God Almighty is saying you beat your wife if you fear. Here it says desertion. That's not what it says. If you have Paul, have you talked? I'm sure you've had extensive conversations with Usama on what that word means. As a matter of fact,
scourge is what it says, and it's not. When they're talking about beating, they're talking about beating. Yeah, it's a severe beating.
Here's where
it's only if you fear. Only if you fear that she'll rebel. That's only about. That's it. There's nothing. It's just the fear of rebelling.
Here's where it gets worse for them, because Ephesians 5:25, we're told, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved his church.
Yep. Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. Here's Usama's translations. And of whom you fear rebellion, so preach to them and separate them in beds and scourge them. Yeah. So the word scourge is a lot worse than beat them. This is but it gets worse. It gets worse. Here
If you want to know what scourge is, that's what happened to Jesus when they scourged him. They tied him down and actually hit him with bone flails and pulled skin from his bones while he was tied to a stump. Okay?
Cat o' nine tails is what they use. Okay, let me go back to this. So this is the Quran verse right here. So let's look at, here's another one. And take in your hand a green branch and beat her with it, and do not break your oath. This is Allah telling Job how to beat his wife. So there you go. So it's not only in the admonition in the Quran from Allah, but when Allah pretends to comment or tell biblical stories that we find in the Old Testament, he throws in his own little trash, corrupting the Bible. I'm going to put that in my book. There you go. Somebody write me a note and remind me to do that. Okay, here's some hadith. A woman came to Muhammad and begged him to stop her husband from beating her. Her skin was bruised so badly that it is described as being greener than the green veil she was wearing. Muhammad did not admonish her husband, but instead ordered her to return to her husband and submit to his sexual desires. Now, that's a paraphrase of what happens in there, because I'm not going to sit there and read you the entire thing. Again, Aisha said, I have not seen any woman suffering as much as the believing woman. This is from that hadith. And here you have Muhammad's own wife complaining Muslim women were abused worse than other women. Sahih Muslim. Muhammad struck his favorite wife, Aisha, in the chest one evening when she was left in the house without his permission. Aisha narrates, he struck me on the chest, which caused me pain. Another one, Muslim. Muhammad's father-in-law, Abu Bakr, and Umar amused him. Look at that. Amused him by slapping his wives, Aisha and Hafsa, for annoying him. According to the hadith, the Prophet of Islam laughed upon hearing this. Abu Dawood. I don't even know what that is. Something bin Abd reported to the apostle of Allah, may peace be on him, as saying, do not beat Allah's handmaidens. But when Umar came to the apostle of Allah, may peace be upon him, and said, women have become emboldened towards their husband, he, the Prophet, gave permission to beat them. Now, this is graded Sahih, authentic, and it's also reported in Sunan Ibn Majah, which is graded in their Sahih. And this is kind of a change word, because at first Muhammad forbade women from beating their wives, but as the hadith indicates, he rescinded that, and it was reported that women were becoming more emboldened towards their husband. So beating in Islam marriage or Muslim marriage were deemed necessary at times to keep their women in place. Again, in Bukhari, a woman came to Muhammad and begged him to stop her husband beat her skin. Oh, wait, we already did that one. Aisha narrates how her father, the first rightly guided caliphate, led violently. Look at it. Abu Bakr came towards me. This is Aisha narrating it, and struck me violently with his fist and said, you have detained people because of your necklace. But I remained motionless as if I was dead. Although he hit me, it was very painful. Let's go to the Sirah, the biography of Muhammad. If you go to page 969, it requires a married woman to be put in separate rooms and beaten lightly if she acts in a sexual manner towards others. According to the hadith, this can be as before an offense as petty as merely being alone with a man to whom she is not related. And then let's look at the Sharia, dealing with a rebellious wife, of course. When a husband notices signs of rebelliousness in his wife,
whether in words or as when you answer them coldly, she used to do so politely, or she asks her to come to bed and she refuses, contrary to her usual habit, or whether he acts as when he finds her averse to him, blah, 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 blah. He warns her in words, you obeying me is religiously obligatory. Obedience of a wife to her husband in Islam is obligatory. They have to do it according to their religion. They have no other choice. I mean, this is just, if she commits rebelliousness, he keeps from sleeping, having sex with her, and may hit her, but not in a way that injures her. It is permissible for him to hit her if he believes that hitting her will bring her back to the right path.
But there's a problem with this. When you read the passage, it does not. There's no progression. That's the issue here. Is the Quran does not. It's not a progression. It's you can do all of those.
What do you mean by that? Say that again.
That citation in Sharia
right.
is turning that passage into a progression, and it's not. You can do all of those things.
You don't have to start with the admonitions.
Yes.
You can go directly to guns and start beating.
You do all of those.
Yep.
You do no. It's not. It's all at once. It's not a progression.
I worked with a guy from Iran back when I was a teenager who said that beating women was a common thing. He said that's one of the reasons why he left Islam. He was one of those guys that left Iran and came to America when the chance was, when he was able to do it, boom, he was gone. And he said that's the biggest reason why he left.
Wow. Okay. So let's look at, okay, so we've gone through an example of what one of these beatings looks like. We've gone through the Quranic admonition that allows men to beat their wives. We've gone through a couple of hadiths that spell out that Muhammad codified it, allowed it. We've gone through the Sirah, where it says right there in the biography of Muhammad that it's allowed. And we've even gone to Reliance of the Traveler, which is the jurisprudence manual for Islamic law or for the Sharia, where it says that you can beat your wife. But what I want to do is I want to kind of shift focus here, not just necessarily the beatings, but also the treatment of women in Islam. And, we look at, what would be a good example, or somebody that could tell you what would be a great example of somebody who, or a witness to what it's like to be a woman in Islam, or as far as what a wife would say. Would you want to go to get maybe, one of the Saudi the wife of a Saudi prince to tell you, this is what it's like to be a wife in Islam? I don't think that'd be very accurate. Or maybe one of these Gazinian women who, have kids and they raise them up to hate Jews before they can even speak. And I don't think that would be a good example. But I think probably the best example that we could come up with would be the wife of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, the man who received a PhD in Islamic studies from the University of Baghdad. He knows a little bit about Islam. He led the Islamic State, the Caliphate. And his wife gave an interview. And what I want to do is I want to go through this interview that she gave about what it's like for women, or her anyway, in Islam. So we are about to get, I don't want to say it's a treat, because a lot of it is just, it's sick is what it is. So let's go ahead and play this. I'm going to make that full screen. Here we go.
الرجل يعني أصابه غرور، يعني ما عاد يعني يهمه الناس اللي حواليه، يعني كل اللي يهمه هو فتوحات.
Am I getting the wheel of death? Okay, let me.
You're playing this live?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
What do you mean live?
Is this off memory?
Yeah, no. This is off. Well, no. Hold on. There we go. All right, hold on. Can you hear that?
Yes.
All right, let me. Okay. Let me get off of there. Okay, so here we go. Let me put this back up here.
الرجل
There we go. Okay.
يعني أصابه غرور يعني
Okay.
ما عاد يعني يهمه الذين الناس اللي حواليه، يعني كل اللي يهمه هو فتوحات، أمنه الشخصي، كيف يوسعون هذه الدولة. كانت عندهم أحلام كبيرة، يعني يصلون إلى روما، يفتحون، يعني كانت في رأيي خرافات.
Okay, so even the wife, that's very telling. Even the wife knew that this guy was delusional. When you start talking about conquering Rome, and when you think about what they did conquer, I mean, it is actually kind of impressive that they were able to take over Iraq. But Iraq sat in a vacuum. We had just, a lot of people don't remember the history on this, but we had just pulled our troops, the majority of our combat troops, the overwhelming majority of our combat troops, out of Iraq. This created this vacuum in which whoever was the strongest could prevail. And this is that vacuum ISIS poured right into it. If you want to ask who caused ISIS, well, you can thank Barack Obama. So here you have, and so since we conquered, Baghdad, which had, their army, we saw, if you ever watched the film clips, their army, their soldiers just threw down their guns and ran. It's quite similar to what happened when we rolled up in there in 2003. But these guys had, so when you start talking about we're going to conquer Rome, this is delusion. This is a fairy tale. And she calls him out on it.
And Americans also remember that the name Barack Obama is a Muslim name.
Barack Hussein.
It's not the name that he portrayed it to be. No, this guy is a Muslim. We've actually had a Muslim in our highest office in this country.
That's scary.
قبل إعلان الخلافة كان تزوج مرأة سورية من حلب اسمها عائشة قطماوي. كانت أم ل5 أطفال، متزوجة سابقا من قائد فصيل أحد الفصائل في سوريا، وكانت تسكن في السعودية بعد مقتل زوجها، ولكن جاءت من السعودية إلى سوريا حتى تتزوج بالبغدادي، وتزوجت بالبغدادي. وبعد إعلان الخلافة مباشرة تزوج بمرأة ثالثة اللي هي عراقية، كان عمرها 14 سنة.
Are you guys reading that?
Yeah, let's blow him up.
Yeah.
A 14-year-old girl.
He was trying to imitate his perfect man.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
That's following suit. Actually, it's not even the worst of following Sunnah there. Because if she was already 9, it would still be perfectly permissible.
I was going to say she's already overgrown and out of date.
This is just makes you feel filthy.
هي بنت أحد المقربين إليه اللي هو
الزوبعي،
عبد الله الزوبعي. نعم.
والشيشانية؟
الشيشانية تزوجها في تموز 2015. كانت طفلة في عمر أولادي وتم هذا الزواج.
والشيشانية؟
Hold on, back that up. What does that say?
تم هذا
A child as old as her youngest daughter.
Yeah. The child was the same age as my children. His third wife, which was 14 years old, was as old as her daughter. And you can see she just is this is the problem with Muslims. There's this conflict here. They are more moral than their prophet. and they know it's wrong. She knows it's wrong, but she's not coming out and saying it. This is sick.
Yeah, they would have taken her off.
لا في عمر أولادي وتم هذا الزواج.
والشيشانية؟
الشيشاني أيضا نحن لا علم لنا ولا خبر. نحن في البيت في شهر رمضان في ذلك الوقت، ودخلت علينا هذه المرأة الأجنبية وقال إنها زوجته.
Okay, so it's Ramadan. I mean, because you think about this. It's Ramadan. Everybody is sitting around. It's hot. And everybody's got a case of hangry because you haven't eaten anything all day, or you're not supposed to anyway. And in walks this foreign woman, according to her, and says, "Hey, I'm Abu Bakr. I'm Abu's, fourth wife. How y'all doing?" Now, notice this is wife number 4. And how many does Allah stipulate that you can have? Up to 4. But listen to what she goes on to say.
You can have up to 9. 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
وهناك من يقول بأن البغدادي كان لديه 9 إلى 10 سبايا من
Okay, look at there. He had 9 or 10 Yazidi slave girls.
وأنا أؤكد لك ممكن أكثر من هذا العدد. أنا ما شفتهم، لكن بسبب الهوس في تلك الفترة بمسألة النساء.
Okay. Are you listening to this?
Yep.
He had over 10 Yazidi sex slave girls. The wife doesn't say, you're not going to bring the sex slave home. Say, hey, honey, move over. I'm going to have sex with my slave. No, you don't do that. She just said that there was an obsession. What was the word here? Let me go back to it. I did not see them, but because of the obsession about women back then, they were obsessed over having these sex slaves. The whole caliphate. When you watch a lot of these young men, and they're in these videos, and they're talking about going off and fighting for ISIS and conquering the world, and so they're talking about also the booty that they're going to get on the other side. They're going to be getting these sex slaves, these women who are going to submit to them to every sexual gratification that they could possibly come up with. And this is their recruiting tool. It's sick. Okay.
تحولت من دولة الإسلام برأيي إلى دولة النساء. بالنسبة لموضوع السبي، كمعتقد أنا أعتقد بأنه هذا الأمر فعلا هو أمر ذكر في القرآن.
She knows what the Quran says. She knows what the faith teaches. It is perfectly permissible to do this according to Islam. You can take these women as your sex slave.
كريم وما ملكت أيمانكم. لكن هذا الأمر في زمن من الأزمان كان أمر طبيعي ومعتاد. لكن في رأيي في زمننا الحاضر هذا في القرن 21 أو القرن 22 دخلنا مسألة الرق الاستعباد أصبحت أمر غير مقبول عند أي.
Okay, so as we're saying, she is more moral than her prophet. She is more moral than the caliph for the Islamic State. She is able to recognize that slavery in the 21st, I don't know where she got the 22nd century, but she said in the 21st century is not right. She understands that. Now, that's not saying that slavery was right back in the 7th century or the 13th century or the 17th century or the 18th or 19th century in the Americans' experience with it. It's not saying it's right at that time, but she's able to recognize the fact that today, especially today, with what we know about human beings, humanity, and different cultures across the globe, different religious practices, that it is wrong.
Yeah,
wife, go ahead.
Jesus never said sex slavery was ever good. He never condoned it, ever.
No, you're right. I totally agree. I think that was just European American folks who were into that, and they just were manipulating Jesus to fit their agenda. So
there's a lot of things that could be said about that, but yeah, I agree there, because when you look at one of the things that when I was teaching history, that American history anyway, we would talk about teaching Christianity to the slaves. not that they were Muslim converts. So I know we get this big to-do about, oh, they were Muslims that were brought over here and they were forced to become Christians. That's not true, because Muslims were running the slave trade, and you were not able to sell. You're actually right, it's a lie. You were not able to sell a fellow Muslim into slavery. So we're talking about a type of belief system generally held in that region of the world where they believed in veneration of their ancestors. It was kind of an ancestral belief. But anyway, the Christian slaves were taught about they would be teaching the verses about slaves, be obedient to your masters. But then the the slaves themselves would be focusing on stories from, let's say, the book of Exodus, or Philemon, where you're supposed to treat your slaves equally, or you see a huge freeing of the slaves. But here, Abu Bakr, Miss Baghdadi herself, is able to understand how evil slavery is, and she calls him out on it. Good for her.
And one other thing that I just want to throw out there, just for the heck of it, is my family was part of the Underground Railroad that got the slaves out of the South. Okay,
I'm glad to hear that.
My family was in Iowa, milking cows.
Yeah, you're with Captain Kirk, man.
Are you going to mention the fact that who were behind the slave trade, who were selling the slaves to the slavers, the slave ships?
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows. Well, in my class, we taught who was running the slave trade, specifically in Mali, who became the richest man ever because of, they were mining gold. They had a lot of gold there, but also the slave trade. And the slave trade itself in Mali, they were Muslims. He was building,
Muslims.
Yeah, he was building madrasas all over the place, but they were making these raids into the interior of Africa and stealing people. The specific purpose of warfare was not to take land, was not to take possessions, was to take human lives.
And then there's another thing, before the Crusades, everybody bashes the Crusaders, but before the Crusades, they would wipe out towns. They would, kill the men and the boys with hair, and then take the rest of them and sell them as slaves because they got more money for the white people. And that's why there's a book out there called White Gold, and it talks about it.
Oh, they would also
the Crusaders stopped it. The Crusaders stopped it.
There was also a hadith out there where they were talking about men being unable to control themselves around the women with the yellow hair, and how valuable blonde women were. They used to run slave raids up into Southern Europe, all the way up to Scandinavia. This was not, it's our myopic experience with slavery here in the West, and with the transatlantic slave trade, that just thinks it was Africa and it was a bunch of white guys getting off a boat running into onto the mainland and grabbing people. That's not, that's the ignorant way of describing it. Unfortunately, they don't spend a lot of time talking about the Islamic involvement in there, because that would be Islamic phobic after all. But some of us are not afraid of being called Islamophobic.
Yeah, please call me an Islamic phobe. Please tag me with that.
Okay, let's go ahead and continue with Miss Baghdadi here. This lady I'm starting to like this lady.
بالنسبة لليزيديات أنا ما عاش معي أحد من اليزيديات، فقط ممكن يومين أو 3 أيام، أسبوع. أكثر واحدة عاشت معي ممكن شهرين، هي كانت طفلة مع أطفالي، اسمها ريهام.
Okay, are you guys catching this? This is a Yazidi girl who was a sex slave, and she describes her. She was a child and stayed with my children. These sick pieces of garbage. Good Lord. God help you.
باقي اليزيديات أنا ما أعرفه أين يذهب بهم، كيف يتصرف بهم، هم خارج دائرة البيت.
يقال بأن واحدة من اليزيديات أهديت لأبو محمد العدناني.
بالنسبة لهذه التفاصيل أنا ما عندي أخبار فيها، لكن أعرف إنه كلهم كانوا يملكون يزيديات.
Okay, no. Go back. So what
يعني
did you
كل
just say?
الأمراء
What did
أعرف
you
إنه
just say?
كلهم
All I know is that all of them owned Yazidi women.
كانوا يملكون يزيديات. يعني كل الأمراء كانوا يملكون يزيديات.
هناك بعض الشهادات لليزيديات ممن تحدثنا او هربنا من جحيم داعش بانهن تعرضن الى الاغتصاب على يد البغدادي.
أنا ما أستطيع أؤكد أو أنكر، لكن هذا احتمال كبير. نعم، هو في تلك الفترة هو وكل التنظيم أصبحوا شرهين متوحشين.
Yeah, and we also know that one of the girls that Abu Bakr Baghdadi raped and treated as a sex slave was that American girl out of a place called Prescott, Arizona. And the reason why I'm pretty familiar with this is because my dad, before he died, he lived in Prescott, Arizona. And that family lived within a mile of where he lived. They lived out on the highway. You drove out from where my dad lived about a quarter of a mile. Then you got on the highway and you went left, and they lived there on the left-hand side. And they had so many people from town after this. It became so popular. They ended up moving. They had a garage. They had that big. They ended up just getting out of town after she had been killed. And I don't know if I should say. I'm gonna say it anyway. He went to when they had their garage sale. He bought. The guy had some DeWalt tools, some DeWalt battery operated tools. What do we call them things? Cordless screwdrivers.
Cordless drills.
Yeah. Cordless drill, cordless saw. And when my dad died, when I went out to his house, I got him, a lot of his tools. It was better than sell them to an estate or whatever. And I have the saw and the drill from that.
Those are awesome tools, by the way. I used to sell that exact set, by the way.
But DeWalt, yeah, they yeah.
Yeah, in that day, that year, I sold that set.
Yeah, it's just so when she starts talking about Abu Bakr Baghdadi raping these slave girls, this is the only thing that I'm thinking what he did to this poor American girl, and then passing around like a piece of garbage. And to think, it's bad enough that this happens to people. When women being held captive and being kept as slaves, or people themselves being kept slaves for that matter, but for the purpose of sexual exploitation, it should anger you. It should. But to think this is what makes it so incredibly terrible, is to think that this is a religiously sanctioned privilege for men. This is something that their God, their prophet, did and said is okay to do. And as a matter of fact, it's one of the things that they're using to recruit these young knuckleheads to go out there and fight for this guy. It should anger people in your soul to think that women are violated under a religious provision, that there is a religion out there that enables men to exploit women like this. It's bad enough to know that it is that it should be a criminal offense to do this, or a country allows it. For example, the United States allowed it. Well, to an extent they allowed it. In the colonial America, they allowed it. But once the United States became a country, each state had its own laws pertaining towards rape and what can be considered rape. But anyway, it did happen. And nobody denies that. And we can rightfully criticize those colonies and those states that allowed it to occur and did not punish the people for perpetrating those crimes on these women.
But to think that you can exponentially allow this to happen because now it's a religious admonition or a religious allowance or a religious privilege for a man to do that to another woman. That's just sick. That's not religion. That's sick is what it is. And I really like this woman telling it like it is. Let's hear some more.
متعطشين لهذا الشيء يعني خرجوا حتى عن الإنسانية في هذا الأمر. أنا في اعتقادي أن هذا التنظيم هو تاريخ أسود وانتهى. على النساء أن تثقف نفسها أكثر. على النساء لا تنجر خلف هذا الحلم وهذا الوهم. هذا التنظيم انتهى وأعتقد أنه لن تقوم له قائمة بعد اليوم.
هل تم الطلب منكن بأن يعني تقومون بعمليات انتحارية؟
طبعا هو عرض هذا الأمر أنه ممكن تلبسون حزام ناسف لكن نحن رفضنا هذا الأمر تماما. نحن عندنا أطفال يعني أنا ما أستطيع بالنسبة لي أن أقدم على هذا الأمر.
Okay, so notice what she's saying here. They did ask them to carry out suicide missions. Why? Well, because they're just women after all.
The other thing that really makes me angry about all this is how they dress them out in hefty garbage bags. Man, I'm so tired of it.
Yeah, forcing a woman. As a matter of fact, I commented today, I think on Facebook or something about that, about how about the hijab. Oh, it was yesterday where they had this picture of this nun and a Muslim woman in a hijab, and then some people say that if you think this is okay for her to wear this, but it's not okay for a woman to wear a hijab, then you are a bigot.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna correct that right here and right now. These women that are nuns, they are nuns from their own choice. They made the choice on their own. They weren't forced into this.
Okay. Did you
read
read my post?
choice?
You read my post, didn't you? You read my reply. Because that's exactly
Pretty
what
much.
I said. That's exactly what I said. I said, okay, here you have one where they make a choice to follow Christ, make a commitment to follow Christ for their entire lives, and this is part of their apparel. And then the other one, if you don't wear this, then you're beaten by your husband or your father because you're forced to wear it. Don't sit there and tell me it's bigotry.
Yes, and you will be beat to death. And there's nowhere in the Christian doctrine whatsoever, even if a sister takes off her garb, is she ever going to get beat to death? Ever.
Yeah, it's incredible that people cannot see this. All right, let's get back to Miss Baghdadi here. We're spending more time on this than I thought we were, but that's okay.
عندي أطفال أنا أفكر بمستقبل الأطفال يعني الانتحار الله حرم هذا الأمر.
Okay, now watch what she says about when Abu Bakr Baghdadi died. Remember, he blew himself up. Watch this.
بعملية الانتحار عندما حاصرته القوات الأمريكية وقتل ابنه وزوجته.
بالنسبة لي مقتل ابنه يعني أنا ما أعرف كيف يكون هذا إنسان.
Okay. This lady's telling it like it is.
هو طفل يعني لا ذنب له. كيف يقدم على عملية قتل طفل هو لا ذنب له. يعني هذا كان أمر مؤلم جدا بالنسبة لي. يعني
you can see the remorse in this woman. I mean, this is incredible.
وحتى موضوع يعني ابنتك اللي عمرها 12 سنة وقام بتزويجها.
نعم. هذه حقيقة هذا التنظيم.
Okay. So she ends it with even your 12-year-old daughter, even his own 12-year-old daughter, he marries off to be raped, or I'm sorry, to enjoy a lifelong life of marital bliss with some old scumbag.
Being raped.
Yeah, it's just sick. Sick. And you know what is amazing is that there's not very many people who can tell us what Islamic or the Islamic State did that was not Islamic. They say that a lot of the things that they do, the killing people, beheading people, that's not Islamic. Well, actually, yes, it is. Now, the burning part, I think there are direct admonitions against the burning of people alive.
Yeah, but they had people do that as well.
Yeah. They still did it. Remember it was the Jordanian Air Force pilot, was it, that they burned alive?
Yeah.
And they had other people that they cooked.
And Abu Bakr was asked to admonish. I'm talking about the second caliph. The first caliph was asked to admonish somebody, and he refused to do it after I can't remember who it was. Set fire to a bunch of people, and Umar wanted him punished, and Abu Bakr said no.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank God that organization has been decimated. Okay, now let's look at something else that, when we start looking at the fruits of how girls are treated by Muslim men. I have a post here. It was on Twitter, where a guy that evidently does like a John Walsh, to catch a predator. Have you guys seen this, where they pretend they get a girl or a woman or something to pretend that she's a little girl, and then they get men will call and try to set up a date and meet this child for the purpose of having sex with them? Have you guys seen these shows, or am I the only one
Yeah, I don't go out of my way to find stuff like that. So yeah, no.
Okay, well, it isn't that I go out of my way to find these things, but they're on TV, okay, where they'll have some lady pretending to be a child, and then you'll have these pedophiles will try to set up, or online anyway, and these pedophiles will try to set up a meeting with what they believe is a child, and then they show up to the house, and you got this guy with the camera, and he says, welcome to hell, now you're gonna ruin your life, and rightly so, and here's a couple cops, by the way, to take you down to the jail, to put you in the cell where you deserve. Well, they do the same thing in England. Here is an example of that happening, and listen to this guy's reaction to this. It's the reaction to it is very telling about what he thinks. Let me make this. I got the wrong one.
I feel sorry for the folks in Great Britain, man, because they've lost their country.
Yeah, they've lost the country.
Minors, okay.
No, for all the wrong reasons. It's called infamous, not famous. Infamous. There's a big difference. Because famous people, we'd want to go and meet them. I want to wipe you on the bottom of my foot.
A prolific groomer of children. Do you want to phone the police or not? The police have come.
Okay, they're holding this guy for the police. They're trying to hold for the guy for the police to come and arrest him.
I'm waiting for them. I've got nothing to say. Right, okay, I'll start reading your chat logs then, okay? I'll start reading how dare you say to me?
How dare you talk to a child and we dare because we have the evidence to dare. If you have a problem with it, take it up with the police when they come. But they're going to go through your phone and our evidence, and they're going to have you bang 2 rights. And every person that you know around Birmingham, your family, your friends, back home, everywhere, are going to know about this. We will put it everywhere.
I don't care. I've got no friends.
Sajid Khan. Oh, you're not going to have any after this. You'll have a lot of friends in prison. That's for sure.
Yeah, his family probably already knows about it.
Oh, are they into there for this as well?
When they know that you're a Sajid, nice cup of tea. I know for a fact, Sajid, that you're an expert groomer because you are so manipulative. Your chat is expert level.
Wait. What did the guy do? What are they holding him for? What did the citizen Muslim do?
Okay, come on. Let me tell you.
This is Islamophobia at its finest. Hold on.
He made a date with some girl, some juvenile girl, and he was going to meet her or something. I thought I set this up.
Constant virtue signaling, asking the child for money, requesting the child an hour ago to pay for a hotel tonight because your flat's got no heating in it. A child asking a child for money, a grown man like you taking money from a child, a 13-year-old.
Is that not Islamophobia at its finest?
I'm glad that you come. No. I'm going to say what you got to do.
It may harm your defense.
Is that kitty boner in the background?
I'm shocked. Hold on, pause it. Wait, this is in the UK?
Yeah, this is the UK.
First of all, I'm shocked that they're actually handcuffing him and arresting him, and not the British dudes or even the American dude he sounded like.
Yeah, really.
For illegal detention.
Right. Yeah.
You know, for illegal detention, for holding this man against his will. You know, and wow, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I really am shocked that they actually arrested this guy. I guarantee you nothing's going to happen to him. He'll be let go.
Well, we'll find out. I'm not sure we're going to follow up on this, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm trying to find another one. There was another one that I had also, and I tell you what, I wish. Let's see, what is this one? Doesn't care about. Is this no? This is.
You got some guy named Khan as your mayor. That's a problem.
Yeah, that is problematic. This is true. Okay, so Sunday, Friday. It was on Friday that I saw this. Come on. I know this is not good. To do live on a show. Do you agree? No. Former. No. Okay. No. Okay, I can't find it. Okay, but there's another one that's very similar to this one, where they are. Esau, are you in the show? And no, he's not. There we go.
Nope. There he is.
There he is. Now he's there. I just glanced down at that. Didn't see it. Sorry about that. But this guy is, again, this is an example of how they view, number one, how they treat women, treat girls. But more importantly, Brad, why are you on here twice?
Because I froze up. I had to leave, so kick one of me out. Okay.
Out you go.
Kick the left one out.
There we go. Okay. What was I saying? I was saying this is how they view girls, women. But more importantly, and we did a show a couple of weeks ago where Tommy Robinson went out and exposed how these Pakistani gangs are going out and exploiting British girls, and the men, the police, and the men are too scared to do anything about it. And the reason why they're too scared to do anything about it is they don't want to be called names. They don't want to be called an Islamophobe. They don't want to be called a racist or insult people's religious or ethnic sensibilities, when the fact of the matter is this is part of a cultural norm within Pakistan itself, where they treat girls, women, this way. They rape and abuse them all the time. It happens every day over there.
They even do it with their donkeys.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, we appreciate that visual. Okay. All right. I have another one here. Let's see here. That I wanted to go. I think we're just going to do a short show today. We're not going to be here. We'll be here in just a couple more minutes. There was a video. There was a video, and I'm just going to point you guys to it before we cut out. Oops, let me bring this up. This video is on YouTube, and I'm not gonna play it, but I'm gonna invite you guys to go watch it. And the reason why is because it really does a good job of what is this? This is not a house for sale. And what it does is it talks about this girl right here. She was a Hamas captive. She was taken on October 7th, and she was held captive for 2 months, I think it was. And this is her dad. She thought her dad was killed when she was in captivity, and what a relief it was, of course, to see him. But the interview does a good job of talking to the dad and telling you about some of the things that he's going through, some of the things that she's going through, some of the trauma, the coping mechanisms that she's trying to get through because of this. And this, every show since October 7th, I've gone out of my way to mention something about these attacks by the Hamas against the nation of Israel. Now, I know, we have all kinds of different opinions of Israel, but when we think about what these people did, what type of savages you have to be in order to do this to another people group, to do what they did to their women. They cut the breasts off of women, put machine guns up in them, and pulled the trigger after they got done raping. I mean, it's just some of the things that they did, and other things that they did are just, it's just
there's no comparison, man.
Evil.
No comparison.
It's evil is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, people of Israel wouldn't do this. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And so every week when we have this show, I go out of my way to make sure that we mention something about how evil Hamas is. And also, and this is the important thing that I want to make sure that everybody understands. And it might not be the view of everybody here on the panel, and that's fine. But how their actions are motivated by their religion. Their actions were motivated by Islam. This desire, this visceral hatred that they have for the Jewish people stems from Muhammad. You can look, it's all throughout that. We've gone through it extensively in the show, showed you all of the Quranic literature about that's anti-Semitic. We've shown you a lot of the hadith that are anti-Semitic, a lot of the actions of Muhammad and his early followers, and how they were anti-Semitic and how they hated Jews. Jew hatred is part of Islam. And until you understand that, you're really not going to be able to wrap your mind around why this happened and why it's going to continue to happen until people of this faith system put that aside, because they are going to continue to hate the Jewish people because of what their prophet taught them. I don't know how you reform that, to be honest with you, because if Jesus Christ taught us something, and I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, I am going to follow that teaching. They believe that Muhammad was a prophet. And until they are able to open their eyes and clearly see that Muhammad was not a prophet, they can clearly see that he was just an evil man and that they are spiritually blinded to the truth, this is going to continue. But I would encourage you, again, here's the title of the video. It's the trauma of 9-year-old Emily, who was released from Hamas captivity. As a matter of fact, let me post. Can I post this in chat? I can post this in chat, can I? Copy, post. I'm going to post this in chat. And when you get some time, go ahead and watch that, because it's really, I don't want to say it's disturbing. In a way, it gives you hope that girls like this can survive and rebound from this type of trauma. But also, what it does is it gives you a good idea how evil these people are and how evil it was for what they did to the Jewish people. Okay, that's all I have today.
Can I just break in there on something on another note?
No.
But going on how they treat them, yes. Well, you want me to play videos? I'll play videos, dude.
No, go ahead.
Shut you down.
No, don't.
Anyway.
No. Hold on. No. I know you're dying to play that. No. That is just,
I would choose the cow.
That's just so wrong.
Yes. No, so y'all know about Aaron Bushnell, right?
Yes.
The Aaron Bushnell, he's the active duty Air Force guy. Aaron, yes. Aaron Bushnell, yes. Set himself on fire, screaming "Free Palestine, Free Palestine" outside the Israeli consulate. Well, first of all, everybody's praising him, including Jill Stein. Jill Stein of the Libertarian Party. She ran a Libertarian ticket in
Green Party. She's green.
The Green Party. She praised him.
Are you a member of the Green Party, Isa?
I'm more libertarian, but I don't mind the Green Party.
Anyway,
as long as that green is the mean green. Anyway, but yeah. But here's the funny thing. I thought it was odd because they said the early reports were coming out and they were posting he was ordered to report to Israel for duty.
Say that again.
Active duty. He was ordered to Aaron Bushnell. He said that his unit, his Air Force unit, was reported to report to Tel Aviv or some such.
That's not true.
Well, I'm sure it's not, but here's the funny thing. Just a couple days ago, the Air Force, U.S. Air Force, dropped Gaza aid. Okay, airdropped aid into Gaza.
Right, I saw that.
Did you hear about that? Well, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. He saw the order, okay, or just a brief order where they were sending an aircraft to Israel. Okay, and he all of a sudden, oh my God, they're going to bomb Israel. So he burned himself alive because the U.S. Air Force was delivering aid to Gaza. That's how mentally disturbed.
Okay, is this a theory of yours?
It's a theory of mine, but it matches up. In other words, because he worked in intelligence, right? Okay, so he got all kinds of access to communiques and stuff, right? Okay, all that top secret voodoo information that some 20-year-old should not have access to, especially when you're an Antifa.
That in of itself, okay, Brad, just hold on just a second right there. That in of itself, if he was in fact a former, have they proven that he was a former member of Antifa?
Oh yes, no. Oh, definitely.
So, all right, so
not a former member, a current member. He was what do you call it? Anarchist and a member of Antifa.
Okay, so if that is the case,
then in my military.
Obviously, why is he in the military? But why is he in the military? Are you sure that he worked in intelligence? I mean, that's kind of...
Yeah, he was in code interception or something like that, or signals intelligence.
Yeah, he needs to be kicked out of the military.
Well, he's burnt up alive, dude, so ain't much you gonna kick out now.
Okay, so job's done then, right? All right.
He done self-deleted his own self in a spectacular fashion. He fafoed and found out. Did you see that video, Ed? The dude goes to the Israeli. Oh no, he sets himself on fire, dude.
I've seen it. It's just like the beating of that woman. It's just hard to watch people do that to themselves. But I did watch it. But
where's the s'mores? Where's the marshmallows?
Guys,
dude, you rough, bro.
I've seen enough burning and killing. Whatever.
Well, with that, there was, I mean, it's all over Twitter, and there are people that are making a big to-do out of the response of the guards at the Israeli embassy coming out and drawing down on the guy, saying, well, how dare you draw down on this guy? He's on fire, which is true. But at the same time, you're clueless about security, especially when it comes to that being a possible diversion. You don't know what else is going on. It's going to be surprising, number one, that somebody's going to do that. But they were all upset that they didn't come out and they didn't douse him with the fire extinguisher right away, which I think would have kind of minimized what. Yeah, well, I'm not ruining the fun. I wouldn't say that, but it wouldn't.
Let's also remember that when Van Halen wrote the song "I'm on Fire," this is not what they had in mind. Okay.
Right. Sorry, Issa, you were going to say something? Isa.
I like this one. This is very good, Elizabeth. This is something they should not. They won't ask. So I left out a lot of hadith today, and I've noticed that they've been passing or posting these hadith in the chat, and I appreciate that, guys, because there's just so much in there about as far as wife beating and the treatment, the treatment of women, and the ill treatment of women. In Islam, and we've been through this 100 times on the show, and I don't want to beat a dead horse per se, but I
or a live woman.
The comment.
Don't beat a dead horse or a live woman.
Yeah, it'll get you in jail. If you followed the Sunnah of Muhammad today, you would go to jail, and you wouldn't be able to own a firearm. I mean, you would go to jail for pedophilia, but if you beat your wife, you wouldn't be able to. You would go to jail for domestic abuse, of course. And then you would also never be able to own a firearm again.
I was listening to Jay Apologetics. They were reviewing Ali McDowah and his marital advice. It's kind of funny. Well, it really wasn't his marital advice. Ali McDowah, Ali Dawah. I call him Ali McDowah.
Ali Dawah. Yeah, okay.
He's like bad McDonald's. But anyway, actually, let's play some of the clip of that video if you don't mind. I think I got it up here. We got time. What do I do with it here? Find it. But anyway, so basically, it's kind of painful to watch. No, that's not it. Well, I can't. Well, actually, so it's kind of painful to watch because the dude's a new Christian, and so he doesn't really. He's not articulating things. He doesn't understand things, correctly. And Ali McDowah is just jumping all over that. And Ali McDowah is literally telling his Muslim wife, okay, to leave him. Email me, sister. But leave this guy. Divorce him. His deen is not good. His Bible not good.
This guy's a new Christian or a new Muslim?
A new Christian.
Okay.
But he's married to some woman. Is that what it is? And then
he was married to a Muslim, and he left Islam. Yeah, here, let me. Yeah, marital advice, Muslim. Yes, divorce your husband. But anyway, let's just play a little clip of it so you get the idea of what's going on here. Oh crap! It started timing out on me. You know what? Hold on. Let me kill this VPN. Free VPN suck. Well, we have no idea what we're doing.
Obviously.
Yes. Present. Do you guys still do that in the army? Present arms.
Present. Huh. Yep. Still do that.
Share screen. Ex-Muslim. There we go.
You can always thank. Okay, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Listen to this.
Sister, I'm talking to you. Please leave this man. Your nikah is bad. It's not valid. You are married to a man who's a fasiq,
unstable, mentally unstable.
My dear sister, please email me. I'll talk to you in email. I want to talk to a person who has
you literally prove yourself wrong. You believe
you're married to an absolute ignoramus, sister. There are many good Muslim men out there, alhamdulillah. Please, sister.
Yeah, I got your email.
Thank you, sister. My dear sister, listen to me carefully. I see you at my own sister. This husband of yours is a deluded man. He has, look, you heard him. Moral argument, no debate.
All right, so he's going over basically the arguments and what. But yeah, could you imagine that? A Christian telling a Christian woman when her husband is on the phone call with you? Could you imagine that? Divorce him.
Can you imagine that this is Muhammad Hijab's wife?
Yeah, no.
Ali drama? Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, seriously. Now, clearly, no, seriously. Even if the dude was beating her, you would not say to her on the phone, "Leave him," because that would just cause him to beat her more. What you would say is, you know what? We're gonna pray about this, blah blah blah. Whatever, and you'd be calling the cops. But I mean, seriously, would you be sitting there saying to a Muslim woman, "Call me, email me, leave this man. You're nikah."
It's not very intelligent. It's not an intelligent move. You're not dealing with. I don't think this person's quite intelligent. Just to be quite honest with you, it seems kind of like the real not elevated consciousness. Let me put it that way. I think it's a nice way of putting it.
Well, he's making a lot of money off of selling his penis pills online, but yeah, he does.
But I mean, who's the crowd? Are we dealing with elevated people, or like elevated people his crowd, or are you dealing with kind of like brutish folks? Like I don't know what kind of people are kind of watching him. It doesn't seem like very sophisticated, elevated people.
Oh,
Yeah,
exactly. Well,
exactly.
no,
That's his crowd. They all want to have 6-year-old wives. That's his crowd.
Well, no. So that's the thing. So that's what he brought up. So this is the thing. This young Christian. I mean, I wish we could get a hold of him. Evidently, he supposedly has a YouTube channel, but we don't know what it is. But anyway. Well, first of all, honestly, I mean, his wife should not be contacting strange Muslim men on the internet because that will just lead to disastrous consequences.
Well, if he beat her, she wouldn't be doing these type of things to begin with.
This is true, but he's a Christian, so we can't advise him to do it. So
that's right. Okay.
Yeah, instead we can only advise him to love his wife as he loves his own body. Because nobody hates their own body.
Well, I mean, who are we to say? I mean, yeah,
I know, right? Yeah. But no. So he was going on. So Ali McDowell said, because the guy said, listen, I can't follow this prophet no more because of all the immoral things that he did, having sex with a 9-year-old girl, all the murders and the rapes and the slavery. So then, of course, because Ali McDowell cannot defend his prophet, he has to go to the Bible and twist the Bible. And he brings up, all this stuff, slavery in the Bible and blah, 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 and killing and genocide and all this other stuff. But here's the funny thing. Jay and Daughter Christ brought up what?
Wait a minute. Just so people are clear, when people try to say slavery in the Bible, I'm going to make this very clear. There's 4 types of slavery. Chattel slavery is not in the Bible. It is not condoned by Jesus Christ, but chattel slavery is Islam.
Yep.
Let's make that clear.
It's perpetual slave market. Yeah. But anyway, so he brings up all this stuff, and the poor guy was just having problems with it. But here's the bottom line. Jay and Daughter Christ brought up all the verses. Well, not all the verses, but a lot of the verses where God says over and over again, "I brought you out of slavery." Over and over again. I brought you
out of the land of Egypt, right? Yeah.
I brought you out of slavery. I brought you out of the land of Egypt. I brought you out of slavery. I free you. I free you. Okay, right? But in Islam, what do we have? You are a slave. Okay? You are to enslave others. That is the commandment. Okay? You are to, you know what I mean? You are to purposely go out and enslave others. You are to make the world second-class citizens to you. Okay? There is no freedom. Not only is there no freedom, there's no I brought you out of slavery. There is that you are a slave to Allah now. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I hear you, but when you say these are like Salafi Muslims, this is like really like the literalist Muslims, because like not all Muslims have different kinds of views on these issues.
Well, wait a minute, who's the real Muslims? Can you tell me who they are?
I don't think we can say who a real Muslim or a real Christian or a real Jew is. Like,
we can. We can say who a real Christian is, but can you tell me who the real Muslims are?
How can you say that? Because like hear people say Catholics. I've heard a lot of Christians. Like when I lived in the South, I heard people say Catholics aren't real Christians and Orthodox aren't real Christians.
So if you're not following, are you following Jesus Christ? Are you following Jesus Christ?
Well, the Catholics and Orthodox say they are. So,
okay.
but those
don't the
Baptist
Protestants
that I talked to said they did it. So I'm just saying.
What Protestants say they don't? They don't follow
Southern Baptist Protestants. When I lived in Arkansas, that's what they said. They said that Catholics.
What are you doing in Arkansas?
And
I live in Arkansas, man. Boy, let me tell you.
No. And what proof did they give you?
Go to the.
They said they believe in the Virgin Mary. They believe in Jesus and Virgin Mary, and
okay. Well, that's in the Bible. That's in the Bible. Come on, man. You got to do better than that, dude.
I'm telling you, dude. That's what they said, man. I'm just telling you what they said.
I'm just telling you that the argument that you're trying to present is the wrong one. Okay.
I just think that there's people who have different kinds of views and different beliefs, and I think that's okay. I don't know how we can prove someone is true. I think you just need to believe and do the best you can in
yeah,
your life.
there is.
I'm not here to
because
tell
we
other
actually
people
have
what
the
true is.
historical evidence, bro.
A true
Are you kidding
Christian,
me?
a true Christian is somebody who follows the teachings of Jesus Christ and what he did for us. That would be a true Christian.
Exactly.
A true
So-
Muslim is somebody. A true Muslim would be somebody who follows the teachings of the Quran and Muhammad.
But the issue is how people interpret that. You got many
Well,
different views on
okay,
this, and what's the
it's not
true
even okay. I'm
interpretation
not.
of it?
I don't want to get into that.
Okay, sure.
I don't want to
Yeah,
get
we
into
can
it.
do
Let's,
backflips, but that's bull.
I'm going to do one
All right,
more
let me
clip.
settle this. Let me settle this right now. Let me just settle this right
No, I'm doing one more clip. We're doing one more clip, and then we're going to be
let
done.
me settle this. Let me settle this right now. A true Christian is a Calvinist Christian, 5-point reformist. All you other heretics. That's it.
Yeah, and a true Muslim is a guy. And a true Muslim is a guy that's out chopping heads because you're not a Muslim.
Okay.
That's
But,
a
you're
true
not,
Muslim.
but people say they're not true Muslims.
This was in
It's a no
Speaker's
discount.
Tell me I'm
Corner.
wrong, Isa. Tell me I'm wrong, Isa. Tell me I'm
Speaker's
wrong.
Corner.
I'll tell you that
last
is a
week-
Muslim, but I wouldn't say it's a true
Last
Muslim.
week in
That's
Speaker's
my position.
Corner. Last week in Speaker's Corner, we had somebody showing their true colors once again. And we're going to end on this because this is going to be the topic of next week's show.
You hate me for the sake of Allah. I hate you for the sake of Allah. All right. I hate you for the sake of Allah. Every Christian, I hate you all for the sake of Allah. Any Jew, any Christian, I hate you all for the sake of Allah. He hates me for the sake of Allah. You hate me and the other parts. Would you kill me if you get a chance? If we're in war, I would chop your head off. Yeah, Allah guide you. If we're fighting in war, I'm not going to let him kill me. I said, if we are. No, let's ask this again. Do you hate me? Yes, I hate you for the sake of Allah. Who taught you to hate me? Islam did.
All right. So next week, we're going to be talking about Islamic hatred for the Kufar and what that looks like. And
That's just that guy sounds like he'd be a fun neighbor, to Christians.
He looks like Muhammad.
He'd be fun.
They made a song that, let me write this down. Song about Ali the neighbor. That it was just absolutely.
I do have one question to ask.
Hating.
Can you be a Muslim without invoking Muhammad's name in the Shahada?
No, you can't. No.
Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, I think it would depend on how people view it, but I hear your point.
No.
But
Okay, so this week,
tell me what
this
the
week we
Shahada
talked
is,
about.
bro.
This week we talked about
brother, I know totally about
Islamic
it, but
treatment
we'll
of
talk about
women and how it is found in the Quran, how it's found in the Hadith, and we've also looked at a couple of real good instances of how women are treated in Islam. We opened the show, as a matter of fact, with that gruesome imagery of that poor girl being beaten for the sake of Allah. It was what they call it, honor killing, but unfortunately they didn't kill her, but you could see how brutal those things are. And then we showed from the lips of the wife of one of the most prominent Muslims on the planet, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, and how she said how inherently evil ISIS was as far as the slavery, their treatment of women. They treated the Yazidi girls as slaves and passed them around. And when we look at this and we compare that to the West and the Judeo-Christian values that the West is built upon and how we apply our laws and how we treat each other, it's the difference between night and day. And for people to try to bring this religion to the West, I'm not saying that we disallow. I would never, ever advocate for the disallowance of people to practice what they sincerely believe is their religious. I would never do that. As a matter of fact, I spent a career defending that because I am a firm supporter of the First Amendment.
Freedom.
Freedom of religion. I'm a firm supporter of that. But at the same
I'm
time,
not a supporter of
I'm a firm believer that exposing a religious ideology is a responsibility of every citizen in this country.
Yeah,
And that's why we do this show.
Is David Koresh, is he good? You guys all right with David Koresh, what he did?
I'm all right to allow David Koresh to say what he wants. I'm not allowed.
Sure.
Again, I'm not all right for allowing to take people captive and hold them hostage.
Burning them alive. Yeah,
no, I'm not. Of course, I'm not. That's
that's
stupid.
what I
mean,
thought.
I wouldn't. I'm not.
But that's
I'm
not freedom of speech, though. That's beyond speech. That's
but Muhammad didn't have a problem.
Action.
Muhammad didn't have a problem burning people alive. So that's my point. Thank you.
Okay, so let's land on a good note.
Wait, I gotta tell you a funny story.
Oh my gosh, let's go!
Yes, no. So funny story. So you guys remember when I said that guy would have made sounds like a fun neighbor to have? You know, he hates you. He's gonna chop and kill your head off. And this is kind of funny. This is honestly all the Muslims I've encountered. They say no. We're not going to practice the Sharia on you now. You're all worried about that we're going to be chopping your hands off with thieves or chopping your head off or stoning adulterers or whatever. That we're going to do that now. Okay? We're you're all worried that we're going to do that to you now. No, we're only going to do that when Islamic Caliphate somehow mysteriously appears and conquers the whole earth, and then we're going to do that to you. And I always thought, yeah, no, I don't want you as a neighbor, dude. You know, especially if you're going to sit there and you're listening to rocks and trees to tell you that there's a Jew hiding behind him, come and kill it. What if you have a psychotic break, dude? And all of a sudden the trees and rocks really start talking to you. You know what I mean? I could see that happening.
Yeah,
you know, like someone like me planting
foaming at the mouth. I got to wonder about you too.
Yeah, someone like me, would go plant little speakers, in rocks and trees around your house and sit there and whisper, there's a Jew hiding behind.
You're crazy, bro.
Let's go ahead and close with this. God bless
I'm just saying, but
yeah,
no,
that is kind of, I mean, if someone really thinks like that, that's kind of crazy, man.
Wait, let me tell you the funny story. I didn't tell you the funny story. Well,
hurry it up. Let's go.
Okay, so the funny story is this. This really happened. So after 9/11, okay, all right, there is a 911 recording where this Muslim neighbor, she was from Pakistan. She calls 911. I forgot where it was. It was like somewhere in the Southland. But anyway, her neighbors were always having barbecues and they were cooking pork. They were smoking pork, blah, 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 and they're cooking pork. So she calls the cops on that. And no, there is this 911 recording where she literally calls them and said they're smoking pork and cooking pork and she's tired of it. Okay, and they're doing it deliberately and it's Islamophobia and you need to stop it. Again, this was probably 6 months after 9/11, so that 9/11 call didn't go over so well. But needless to say, if that was to happen today, if you think about this, if you had a Muslim neighbor and you were smoking pork on your barbecue, and they called and complained, maybe in London, even in England, more than likely, and you kept, they could probably accuse you of Islamophobia for just cooking.
I can promise you that would not go over
Guilty.
right here in Kafiristan where I am. That would
Guilty.
Right.
Right.
But I mean,
Guilty.
like,
Okay.
it's weird because like
So
you
what?
could do the same thing. Like the Muslim person could be like doing a barbecue of like chicken and beef and lamb, and then their neighbor's a vegan. You could say that the vegan, you're weaponizing the vegan. So like,
No,
you either
that
have
actually
freedom or you
happens.
don't.
Well, no, that actually happens with vegans. There are 911 calls where vegans are calling their neighbors because they're cooking meat, okay? And they're saying it's hate speech. No, there are all kinds of goofy stuff that is happening. But yeah, or what about, dude, Hindus. There are some radical Hindus out there. If you are eating steak or eating a cow in India and certain parts of Hindu, you're dead. You're a dead man. You are a dead man.
It's rough for
walking.
Muslims in India. If they eat
Here we
beef,
go.
they get
God bless y'all. See you
All
next
right.
week.
Sally called when she got the word. She said, I suppose you've heard. Our new neighbor is Ali. Well, I rushed to the window and I looked outside. I could hardly believe my eyes as a big removal van rolled up onto next door's drive. Oh, I don't know why he's gonna need that chicken and that goat. I guess he's got his reasons, but I just don't wanna know. For 24 hours I've been living next door to Ali. For 24 hours he's been emptying the van. 15 wives in Burkas, a machete and Quran. Now I've gotta get used to living next door to Ali. He groomed and befriended 2 kids in the park. I heard them both shouting, Allahu Akbar. With Ali. Now he walks through his door with his head held high, then gropes his cousin who's also his wife. 'Cause for him polygamy and incest is justified. Oh, I saw him in the evening and I waved and said hello. He said, good evening, Kufar, I came over on a boat. Now for 24 hours I've been living next door to Ali. Now for several hours he's been fingering me nan. It's just another practice that he's brought from Pakistan. Now I've gotta get used to living next door to Ali. Well, Sally called back and asked how I felt. I said, honey, he calls me infidel, but I'm starting to get used to Ali. Now Ali says I have to comply with Sharia. Maybe not now, but within a few years, when all of my common law rights have disappeared. The next day on the news they are showing his photo. He mowed down lots of people in a black Fiat Punto. For only 24 hours I've been living next door to Ali. For 24 hours he must have had it planned. Now I'll probably never see him 'cause they put him on remand. Now I've gotta get used to not living next door to Ali. No, I'll never get used to not living next door to Ali.
Does having a 4.0 GPA matter? 6th to 12th grade parents.
Are you kidding
We're
me?
going to expose the college admissions criteria.
You and your silly things here, Ed. What happened to the cold clothes? I'm looking for the cold clothes. What happened to it? Is that up here?
I don't know what that was.
Advanced student and specialist, that the standard narrative has holes. That's what
that the Muslims were rioting against one another. And as much as we don't want to face the fact, the Muslims were lying sometimes. They were fabricating, they were embellishing, and that might be hard to accept, but that is a reality.